Hi everybody, I'd like to welcome you to Cultures, Values, and Leadership. My name is Dr. Liz Musil and we're going to talk about leadership ethics and social responsibility. Value and value-based leadership. Being socially responsible and ethical is part of being an effective leader, and it's always important to balance ethics, responsibility, sustainability with financially based decisions. Automatically selecting what is the most financially opportunist decision is not always the right one. Successful executives and entrepreneurs are both ethically and socially responsible. So when we talk about ethics, we're talking about the moral obligations or separating right from wrong. Ethics are accepted guidelines for behavior for your team and for your employees as well. So as a leader, you need to have established guidelines, a code of conduct, as well as model ethical and social responsibility in your organization, in your decision-making and actions, as well as in your personal behavior. Morals are an individual's determination of what is right and wrong, which is influenced by their values. Their values are developed as part of growing up and the culture they're growing up in. A good leader and a responsible leader and an ethical leader will practice good ethics. So there are several ethical attributes that comprise value-based leadership. Ethics, honesty, and integrity in all leadership actions and behaviors. Of course, this is always easier said than done. But being honest, trustworthy, and having integrity in dealing with others as well as in your actions builds a strong ethical leadership core. Trustworthiness contributes to leadership effectiveness. Trust is sometimes low in business and organizational leaders. So you need to overcome these perceptions by practicing integrity, which refers to loyalty, and rational principles. So practicing what you preach regardless of emotional and social pressures. It's also important to lead with ethical responsibility to all stakeholders. Maximizing shareholder wealth in and of itself, and by all means, is not the role of a leader. The behavior of a leader is authentic leadership and balancing ethical responsibility to all shareholders and all stakeholders, so everyone that is affected by a decision or by an action. Next, you want to take action to build team community virtually and physically. Many organizations do not only practice their business physically in their building, but they're also working globally, virtually. So it's really important to be able to communicate effectively to build your team community with your clients, with your team, with your employees, with all your stakeholders, the board of directors, whoever, both by practicing community virtually and physically. And finally, you want to, as a value leader, enforce respect for all individuals. So respecting individuality is a principle of ethical and moral leadership. If you tell the truth, you respect others enough to keep honest. So what you really want to do is, even if news is not good for an individual in an organization, or if somebody's expectations are not being met, talking to them and communicating them with care and respect and as honestly as possible will always build a stronger relationship. Recognizing varying ethical differences. Among leaders, there are many reasons for differences in ethics and morality. Some of these differences include moral self-perception. A moral self-perception is organized around an individual's, an individual's ability to perceive themselves and their behaviors in an accurate manner. So it's confined to a set of moral traits such as honesty, compassion, and caring. Gluttony and greed, never good scenarios. You know, if you're operating your leadership from a place of gluttony and greed, you're going to make decisions that are not looking at the whole organization or all the stakeholders and promoting it. So, for example, looking at high executive compensation where people are laid off because, someone high up in a company wants to take a several $1 million salary. Those are reflections of gluttony and greed that we've seen, and are not fair to all stakeholders in the company. Rationalization and perception. Sometimes leaders choose the wrong path based on rationalizing. For example, as a leader, you really want to focus on how you make decisions. So an example of rationalization is someone who is an ethical person outside of work, and then in work they're like, oh, it's great to stab people in the back and do terrible things to people because I will move ahead because this is work and my behavior doesn't count. You should be the same person from an ethical and moral perspective outside of work and inside of work, or outside of your entrepreneurial path or inside your entrepreneurial path. There's no division of morals based on a situation. You have to have that congruence. Also, there's something called implied permission. Like, people, they see other people doing things that are not right, but figure, oh, so-and-so's doing it, so it must be accepted in the organization, therefore it's okay and ethical. Again, you have to listen to your gut and to your own level of consciousness. Level of self-actualization and moral development. There's, a difference in individuals and their level of moral development, based on the societal norms they were raised with, the culture they grew up in, the society and the laws of the society that they've seen. Sense of entitlement. Sometimes you see people go up the corporate ranks or organizational ranks, or someone being a leader of an organization, and because of their position, they feel that they are entitled to certain privileges or actions that not everybody else is entitled to. So, for example, somebody charging personal expenses to a business account would be a sense of entitlement that violates probably every company or organizational code of conduct, but some people still try to do it because they feel like they're special based on their position. Differences in organizational cultures. Some organizational cultures just really aren't strict or don't really take a close eye at ethical differences or bad behavior. And because people are not corrected, other people, again, feel like there's permission to do so. Personal character. Your personal character contributes heavily to your ethical differences and your ethical behavior. Motivation. Again, your motivation should be to be a great leader and to be as fair as possible to everyone in the organization or the situation that you're working in, not just to meet your own personal agenda. How a leader measures decision ethics. The Center for Business Ethics at Bentley College has developed 6 questions which were designed to evaluate the ethics of a specific decision. These questions are: is it right? Is it fair? Who gets hurt? Does anyone get hurt? Would you be comfortable if the decisions and the details of your decision or actions were made public? How would you tell a child, sibling, or relative to behave or what to do? How does it smell? How does it sit in your gut? How do you feel about the decision? Sometimes there are ethical decisions that are more subtle. They fall into a gray zone. It's not so obvious that they're black and white. So sometimes having a model like this and a framework to go through before making a decision can assist you in clarity. Social responsibility and culture. Corporate social responsibility is a popular buzzword, And what it really influences is what the organization is done and what is their impact on society. Okay, so basically there's a few things that we look at. It's about working towards the common good. So aspects of this would be providing a strategy for ethics and social responsibility in your organization so others can model the behavior correctly. Creating a positive culture, whether working virtually or physically, so not micromanaging, promoting trust, developing people in the organization. Promoting sustainability. Sustainability is not using more resources in the environment or on the earth than we can replace. Engaging in social entrepreneurship, so using market-based methods to solve social problems. So social media, using webinars and other influences of the organization as you can promote the public at large. Philanthropy, good causes that will promote your organization and will help other people or other groups of people. Taking steps to improve working conditions, so making things easier for people, promoting a better culture. Establishing an organizational code of conduct. It's often helpful to provide social media guidelines, behavior guidelines, so that employees are really clear on what is expected of them, and it helps them in their own personal growth as well. Mitigating ethical problems. You want to lessen ethical problems that do exist. If there's a backstabber among the group or negative gossip against certain people, you want to prevent bullying and promote a healthy, positive culture. Another helpful aspect is providing training and education in social responsibility and ethics. And of course, you want to place the interests of the organization, the group, the team above your own personal gain. Leaders who only work to operate their personal gain are not successful. Making a personal commitment. As a leader, you want to develop your leadership ability and skills, which means personal growth. Leadership is an interesting type of profession because you can only lead as well as your internal development goes. So if you're immature and kind of operating like a teenager, you will not be able to lead in a mature manner. So leadership career development includes personal growth and following an ethical code. Your personal morals are a compass as an individual and a leader. You're providing support as well as providing an example for those others that work with you and are on your team, as well as suppliers and the competition. Having a strong personal and individual leadership code is a support to you because you will be confronted by difficult issues, such as being offered bribes, backstabbing, or sexual harassment. And being a strong leader will take you out of those gray zones and show you how to deal with them. So cultivate a strong team and solid communication skills. Build ethic and solid professional relationships that are based on mutual respect. Your team will strive and rise to the occasion, and you'll be more successful overall. Thank you.